when we work with customers, a lot of times the pushback from orchestration is from internal IT and development teams who think they already have it figured out. And maybe they do. They understand potentially I have multiple API sources. I've got data coming from different places. Oftentimes there's a custom piece of data that is maybe sitting in a database. And what we talk about is like, well, you probably don't have like a good API to your custom data yet, because that might not be part of what you needed before. So at the very least, we want folks to be working with data in an API format, and like it's usually some kind of REST, maybe it's GraphQL, something like that. Getting even to that part can be tricky with internal teams, but then now the idea is, okay, you're going to connect these things and use them in the various front ends, like you were saying, Santa, in an experience. I don't know that word translates that great to every sort of enterprise type customer, because they have their own use cases in their mind about how data is going to flow. And it's really hard to get folks to kind of get out of that mindset to think of, well, wouldn't it be nice if it was a more configurable experience for how that data is flowing? And I think that's where I think we can help folks get introduced to the idea of orchestration more, as like, hey, you can have a tool that you can go into, and it's not just hard coded somewhere and like back end files where all the stuff is kind of connected together. I think that idea of that's what glue code is kind of seeming like. But imagine that you could have workflow to determine how these things work together, as well as like it's an actual administration tool you can go into. And then, it's not an easy conversation to have that though, because a lot of times folks are also confusing this with like moving to cloud, moving away from their monolith thing. So there's a lot of stuff going on in their heads. What we've started to do is talk about Composable as, hey, just do phase one. Let's get you started on the journey, and then we'll add in orchestration. And I'm not sure that that's the best way to do it, but it's certainly, I think, the most approachable way. So it's not putting too many conversations on the table as we sort of move into like a transformation to composable systems.